Hi folks. Well, it is Thursday, July 18th, and we're here again working on the Blue Heinz project. There's the hood hinges I cleaned. I stripped the paint off of them last night, trying to get them a little more presentable for when they go back on the car. And I've officially started the wiring. You can see up there, this is the harness coming out that feeds all the stuff on the engine. All that part going down that brace lands on the motor. It's like the coil and the coil, the sending unit for the temperature, the sending unit for the oil, the automatic choke. What else? The sending unit for the cooling fan relay, and the coil of wires you see rolled up there temporarily is the wires for the heater blower and the actual power that goes out to the cooling fan. So anyway, like I said, I've got that started, the fuse panels in. I'm using this kit, American Auto Wire 57 Chevy passenger car. It's custom made for this car. It's like an upgrade. You can see the bottom here is all done. We started putting some of the stuff on, what we have, like the fuel lines. That's what you're looking at there. The fuel line, and we have one brake line installed here. Goes up to the master cylinder. You see some of the wiring. This is speedometer and backup light switch, and over here we have you can barely see it, there it is right there, that's the cable for the electric e-brake actuator. What I'm doing here today is here, I'll show you these lower spring plates here. You see on the bottom of the leaf spring. When I got this car, it had slapper bars under the springs, and I didn't want those. I don't need those. So I bought reproductions of these lower spring plates. Well, you see here, look at the bolt that goes through the shock. At the angle that bolt goes through, and you can't change that. It's welded to that bracket. You see it right there? It's welded to the bracket, and it's welded to the bracket, and the angle is wrong. If you try and modify it and you straighten that piece, then you're going to kill the space that you need for the socket to tighten the nut on the U-bolt. So what I'm doing here is we got lowering blocks to 2-inch lowering blocks to lower the back of the car. It's kind of high right now. So I need to take those plates off and send them back. They're going back. I got them at Dan Chuck, and they talked to this is one of those parts that is not made, obviously, in the United States. This is manufactured for them by someone else. They sell it. And when you complain about it and you say, you know, you pay a higher price for the stuff because you claim it's all made in the USA. Well, yeah, the stuff that we make is made in the USA is the reply you get. But they don't make these. These are made by a manufacturer. The person talking to the manufacturer is never around, probably because they're the only one that speak Chinese. But anyway, that you see the bolt going through that one is about a 30-degree angle. This one is not as bad, but it's not good. It's wrong as well. So these are both going back, and what I was able to do, try to keep this without this getting terribly long. I called Earl Williams Classic Chassis, and asked him if he had a pair of originals, factory ones, in other words. And you see the difference. This piece on the factory ones doesn't bend down near as far. It's bent at a bit of an angle for some strength, but the other one it sticks out a good half-inch probably. And there's where the mount is on this one. These are parallel. If you put this on a bench, the support there, the stud there, is parallel to the plate and parallel to the bench. I checked them. They are, and they're both the same. So once again, Williams Classic Chassis comes through. So what I'm doing here, I got a return authorization to return those plates, but I need to put the other plates on here, and I need to put the lowering blocks in. So what I've done is this: I made a support, and what I did is I copied the lug pattern. Put a piece of plywood there, bolted it to the axle, screwed the support up underneath it. So now what I can do is loosen the nuts on those U-bolts. And let's see what I want to do. Lower the car so it raises the differential up off the spring. And I can put the U-bolt in the middle. Not the U-bolt, the lowering block in the middle. Once I get the differential up off the spring, I can put the lowering block in the middle. I have the new U-bolts and all that stuff. So I can put this back together, change the the bottom plates, obviously loosen the shocks, take the shocks off of there. So that's what I'm up to right now. I thought you might like to see what's going on. That's what those things look like. I'm sure that's going to work just fine. The axle will hold the thing from going sideways. It won't want to go anywhere. I put those things on the bottom to keep it from going forward and back, and the axle is going to do that too. But at any rate, here we are. Show you more later. Hello there. Here we are back at the Heinz 57 project. Just wanted to show you a couple of things since the last time. We got the lowering blocks installed. Hope you can see that all right. They see them back there. And the one on that side. And we got the factory spring plates mounted here. The lower spring plate, which is also the shock mount. You can see how much better that one works. See, the bolt goes through the center of the shock mount there, and it goes through at a nice straight angle. So, you know, there's nothing like original parts. These are originals that I bought from Williams Classic Chassis. He happened to have them. I just painted them because he had them. They were silver powder coated, so that was the primer. That in my case. One more problem or concern this has led to. You can see here that the way the car is being lifted right now, the springs are supporting the weight of the car because the lift is picking up the spring. It's not under the chassis. The rear end isn't hanging. The spring is supporting the car. And if you look at the shock, it's maxed out. It's all the way extended, which I don't like at all. The only thing that's missing from this car right now as far as weight is fuel in the gas tank and the back seat in the passenger compartment, and carpet, whatever, little odds and ends like that. There's a battery going to be in the trunk, so that's going to get added too. So, like I said, I don't like this at all because I don't think what little weight's going to go in here is going to make a whole lot of difference. So it seems like the shock is way out near its extreme when the car's just standing still, and that's not good. So what I'm going to do, I think, is simulate all that other weight by putting weight in the trunk. I'll put the two tires, the two back tires in the trunk. Maybe I'll put all the tires in the trunk and see what else I need. I want to add about maybe 200 pounds in the trunk, and see what that does to the to where the shock is. The shock is 21.5 inches right now, fully extended. I think it's 12 3/4 when it's fully compressed. So about 4 inches shorter than this would be in the middle of its travels. So roughly 17.5. So I'm going to put some weight in the trunk and see what that does and go from there. Maybe what I'll do is I'll put one of those shock absorber cross members that they make for these things, because I believe that does shrink the area that the shock works in. The other problem that I'm having at this point with the lowering blocks installed is I can't get the tires on the rear axle. They won't fit in there. I haven't raised the car with the rear end hanging. And the fact that the shocks are they're at their limit means for the rear end to go down any further than it is now, even if I had it picked up by the chassis or by the bumper, I would have to disconnect the shocks. So there's a problem, and I don't know what that problem is. My son had a 57 years and years ago, and he had these very same tires on that 57, and it had lowering blocks with no problem. So I don't understand what's going on here, but they simply won't fit in there right now. So like I said, I have to play with that a bit. So that's one other challenge that I've run into since I did the last video. The other thing I've been working on, which is another kind of a surprise, you notice the paint over here on the door jamb doesn't look very finished, does it? Because you remember when I did that touch-up around the cowl and the two doors, the color didn't match very well. And I'm not happy with that, and I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. I was going to live with it, but I'm not like that. I can't live with it. If I don't fix it now, every time somebody looks at the car, every time I look at the car, it's going to be, should have fixed that, because obviously it's never going to be easier to fix than it is with the car in the condition it's in right now. You know, with the front clip gone and with the engine gone and with the door gone. The other door's going to be gone too shortly. So I decided I want to fix it. And I got two professionals over here to look at it. And I'll tell you momentarily what they said. Hang on. Okay, so I had two problems, I would say, with the paint job, the touch-ups that I did. One was that the color didn't match. And when I did that, I brought the tape, I put the tape here and I rolled it back to try and create a soft edge. Well, that was the right idea, but I did it partway wrong. When you do that, what you should do is roll it so that the tape is down the edge a little bit. And I did it the opposite. I had it up on the top a little, which is the wrong way. You should have the tape should be down under, in other words, kind of under, so the less paint goes in. I had a paint line anyway. So I had a paint line, the color didn't match, the paint, the bad color was up here where you're going to see it even with the hood closed. And the other thing was that in a few areas, the new paint wrinkled what was under it. It attacked the surface that was below it. Something in that surface that was below it. And one of the guys that looked at it said it was probably the spray device that I used. I used one of these things. The guys at the paint place gave me one of these things. It's a little aerosol that you put on. It's got a bottle that goes underneath it. It didn't work very well. The paint seemed like it was too thick, because I think what was happening was it wasn't making enough pressure. The little aerosol wasn't creating enough pressure. So one of the guys seemed to think it was the propellant in the can or something that attacked the finish underneath. The other guy thought it was probably a solvent in the paint. But at any rate, what's happening now is one of the guys that I think is going to come and do the work here suggested that we take some lacquer thinner. We tried it while he was here and it worked. We take some lacquer thinner and we go over that edge, that paint that I put on, and the clear was not a two-part clear. The clear was a spray can, single part, 1K, single part, whatever you want to call it. And it comes off pretty easy. And after that comes off, the blue also comes off pretty easy. So he recommended, let's remove the paint that I installed and remove a lot of what's under it. If it's not the factory paint, remove what was under it. So we don't have that wrinkle. We don't have any problem with softening something. We're not going over 3 layers or 4 layers of paint, not knowing what all's under it. So what I've done, he's going to do it, but he's pretty busy. So he asked if I wanted to do some of the prep, some of the preliminary stuff. And that's what you're looking at here. This is preliminary. This is probably, I'm going to guess, about 10 hours worth of work, what you're looking at right here on this gutter, on the cowl. And that's what I've done. I've prepared the cowl and this door jamb. So what I've done here is removed all the blue that I put on, all the clear that I put on. That's what leaves it like that. In this case, I've not only removed the blue and the clear, but took the paint that was below that down to bare metal. Except like over here, you see it's not down to bare metal there, but there isn't much left. This looks like there's some filler in here because this is kind of wavy. And I think they put some filler in there, which wasn't very smooth either. It looked more like paint runs and sags than filler. So now this is ready for the paint guy. You notice I left the blue come over the front edge so that he can run his new color down on this a bit. I didn't take all, that's the not the factory. That's the paint from the last time this car was painted, the paint that matches the exterior of the car. So like I said, and then what I'm going to do to complete what I need, what I'm doing, is remove this door. I didn't want to do that because it's kind of a chore, removing the door panel and the knobs and all the rest of the stuff, and then readjusting the door. But it's the best way to do the jamb. You can't hardly get into this side of the jamb, the front side of the jamb with the door on. So I am going to remove the door, and I got to clean this jamb now. And that's a dirty, nasty, messy process. I put some gloves on, like latex gloves, and within 15 minutes, the lacquer thinner had worked its way through the latex gloves. So I have to get something more substantial than those. I think I have a pair of nitrile or some other kind of rubber gloves over there, and those are broken as well. That stuff might be resistant to the solvents, but if you start working with the gloves on, putting any pressure or whatever, the glove goes away pretty quick. But anyway, I have to do the other door, and then wait for this guy to say he's got some time. What I'm trying to do is make it easier for him. He's busy, but like he said, trying to find an 8-hour window is way harder than finding 2 or 3 2-hour windows. So that's where we're at. All right. Here we are. Like I said, it's another week or whatever it's been. And I don't know. I guess I'm making some progress. I'm finding more challenges. So I guess that's progress. Eventually we'll get past all the challenges, and maybe we'll be able to start this thing up and drive it out of here. All right. Thanks for watching. As always, please like and comment if you don't mind. If you would, I'd like to hear what you think. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.